How will Omicron impact the Toronto real estate market? Stay tuned to find out. Promise you, it'll be worth it. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Property. So glad you could join me here. This is kind of a weird topic to cover, but I have to, given the state of events that's happening right now with, Omicron in Ontario and this pandemic. We're obviously in another lockdown, and fingers crossed, hopefully it ends soon. But like the first time in the lockdown, real estate is deemed an essential service and transactions can continue happening. This is why we see a lot of crazy prices. The difference between the first lockdown and the one we have right now is we already have data points and methodologies of how to navigate the Toronto real estate market the second time go around because we've done it before. So I'm going to give you my thought process of how Omicron is going to affect the real estate market, specifically prices. Now, as a side note, I'm not sure about you, but when I saw the words Omicron the first time, all I could think of was the, Lara from Futurama. And it was just dating myself here. And my point here is this, because we've gone through the lockdown before, I think anyone who's looking for real estate will very likely have two questions on the top of their mind. One, is this variant going to cause another huge spike in price? Number two, how comfortable are we going to someone's houses again, given that this new strain is more contagious? But I'm going to stay out of that stuff on the scientific side, just keep it in real estate. But because we've already gone through our lockdown real estate with virtual tours and all that stuff, I suspect most people will be okay seeing houses now. However, I do suspect that because this variant, like I was saying, is more contagious, there are a lot of sellers who are spooked by people coming to their home, so they may hold back their listings depending on what the circumstances until the lockdown's over. Now, while some sellers may take this as an opportunity to list so that there's a ton of people looking to buy, and they could be one of the few listings available for sale to increase the price. So I do see some of my clients opting for that. But so far this month, the amount of new listings still has been relatively weak, which supports my thesis. Buyers are back, definitely, but still a lot of offers on offer nights, but not as much as say like November, kind of same, or a little bit less, but definitely more than December. And in regards to my pricing, 7 prediction videos up here, I said we'll end around 9% this year. Because of Omicron, I think it's actually going to be a little bit higher, given that we probably just saw like 2 to 3% increase in 2 weeks already. Now, Omicron is probably going to delay the big winter market we're supposed to have unless hospitalization rates kind of spike like crazy and we increase the amount of restrictions again on lockdowns and everything where everyone just doesn't move. But again, some of these things are just, really hard to predict. That's why we call it a black swan event. But if this is the type of content you enjoy, make sure to help us spread the knowledge out there by smashing that like button and subscribing to the Prime Property channel. Every week, we talk about real estate content that matters the most to you because, again, all of this real talk is so that we can be transparent and honest. And by doing so, whenever you're ready to make a move, whether it's be buying first home, investing, selling your home, you'll be like, Zen, he knows what he's talking about. Let's give him a call, see what's going on, right? So you can set up a call using this link right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com to strategize, to see what real estate can do for you and your future. Now, what I do think is going to happen with this new variant is that it's going to give a cover-up for the Bank of Canada to not increase the interest rate, which does affect the real estate market. While I've spoken about how increasing interest rates isn't like a big deal for a lot of investors if you're cash flowing and how it doesn't change, video up here, the mass public, who isn't you watching this, does respond to it and it does affect the market. If I had to weigh in and give you an idea of whether, Omicron is going to affect the real estate market pricing more or interest rate, I'm going to say interest rate. This is why Omicron is going to be a stimulant for real estate prices because it provides a cover, an excuse for the Bank of Canada to not increase the interest rate, which ultimately means prices go up. So if they don't increase the interest rate, I suspect, and I talked about this on Tuesday's video, that there'll be policies that restrict the demand side of real estate that we saw in 2017 with maybe increasing down payments for investors. We already saw reports about additional taxes on last week where I talked about, taxing properties more than $1 million, which is every single freehold in GTA. And again, I say this because all of this talk is a Band-Aid solution that's coming down the pipeline. I suspected last year they would probably increase the investor down payment to maybe 25, 35%, something like that, to make it more difficult for people to buy, hence reducing demand. But at the end of the day, it's a trickle-down effect that hurts those who are not in the real estate market the most. My sentiment right now is just this. We feel very similar to 2017 where prices are going up like crazy. Nothing's really slowing it down. And I don't think we can see interest rates coming. So we're probably going to have the government with policies trim around the edges and reduce demand in some way, shape, or form. The question is how much more are prices going to go up before that happens? Because right now there's more and more targets from the media that investors are the bad guys right now buying up all the inventory. It has nothing to do with this whole cheap money thing. And the challenge is all of this is that there's so much talks between everyone that everything is just in talks. And the prices can go anywhere, and with the policies affected in any shape or form. And it's kind of like the same thing that when you read a headline about a stock price, and the prices go up, right? At the end of the day, my overarching theory of what's happening is still this. The government has no way to curb inflation right now. They can't increase interest rate. Real interest rates are going to continue staying low and negative, and people are going to keep putting money into assets such as real estate and stocks that are going to outperform inflation just to preserve their buying power. It's moved everyone's risk curve further to the right, like on this side, so that they can keep their buying power. And when you understand that, that's why it's going to drive so much money into assets of all ways, shapes, or form. Because at the end of the day, despite what could happen with all this stuff coming, I still don't see how holding cash is going to be better than putting your hard-earned money into any hard assets right now. That simple. Because all of this talk that they're having right now, the policies, the governments, the bank account, all that stuff is circling around the symptom of the underlying problem. Too much money chasing too few goods. Supply, demand. And those assets will keep going up in price because there's enough demand for it. So if you're looking to grow your asset, specifically from the real estate side, you can reach out to me using this link right here. It's www.charlesat.com to discuss how you can find cash flowing properties to mitigate some of these potential policy risks coming down the pipeline. I hate to say this, right? But if you're kind of on the edge of buying an investment property, meaning like you just qualify, you just have enough money, and these policies do come and play, it could price you out of it because of the qualifications. So you may want to do it sooner than later. But of course, this is not to, give you fear of missing out, FOMO, but something to think about regarding the bigger picture of where we are. Until next time, your move, your future. See ya. Now that you're done watching this one, how about this one? Oh, you know what? This one's good too. Ooh, this one's really good. You know what? Just watch them both.